Okay, so this is Peer 1, January 2023. I'm going through question 2. So I do have the points PQR with the following coordinates, and I would like to prove that the angle PQR is equal to 90 degrees. Now, first of all, what I'm going to do, I'm roughly going to sketch this. So I have the PQR, the triangle, and the angle here I would like to prove that is 90 degrees. Now I can do this in various ways. I can use the distance or I can use the gradient. If I am therefore going to use the gradient and I'm going to work out the gradient of PQ. When I work out the gradient of PQ, it's going to give us 11 minus 7, 9 minus 3. 11 minus 7, if I'm going to work out, this is going to be 4 over 9 plus 3. Be careful here, minus and minus must be a plus, or you can use a calculator. 9 plus 3 must be 12. If I'm going to cancel down, this is going to give us 1/3. In the same way, I would like to work out the gradient of QR. Now, gradient of QR, if I work out, I can do 11 minus 2 and 9 minus 12. Now, this is going to be 9 over minus 3. 9 divided by minus 3, it's equal to minus 3. Now, therefore, I know the gradient of PQ is 1/3. If I multiply this by the gradient of QR, which is minus 3, will give us equal to minus 1. So therefore, the lines PQ must be perpendicular to the line QR. So therefore, the angle here, PQR, is equal to 90 degrees. And we have managed to prove the first one. So for part B, given that the point S is such that PQRS is going to be a rectangle, can we work out the coordinates of point S? So therefore, I know this is going to be a rectangle in here, and I would like to work out what are going to be the coordinates of point S. If I'm going to say the coordinates of point X will be X and Y. Now, the way I can work this out, I could first of all, I could think of that here I have the midpoint of PR, of the line PR. If I'm going to work out the midpoint for part B, and I would like to work out the midpoint of the line PR. So therefore I need the coordinates of point P and the coordinates of point R. Minus 3, 7. P is minus 3. 7 point R has the coordinates 12 and 2. And I do want to work out the midpoint. In order to work out the midpoint, I need to add the x coordinates, divide them by 2, as well as I need to add the y coordinates, divide them by 2. So therefore, the midpoint of the line PR must be 9 over 2, 9 over 2. As we know the coordinates of the midpoint now, I can now work out, and therefore I can work out, and I know this must be a diagonal line in here. QS must be a diagonal line, and I do know the coordinates of point Q as 9, 11. So therefore I know the coordinates of point Q as 9, 11, and I have the coordinates of point S as I have allowed to be X and Y. So, and I have the coordinates of the midpoint. So I now would like to work out what will be the coordinates of point S. If I do have the coordinates of the midpoint, but because I do have a diagonal, QS is also a diagonal, and therefore here the coordinates of the midpoint must be as well 9 over 2, 9 over 2. So I can work out the coordinates of point S. Therefore this is point Q, this is point S in here, and this is the coordinates of the midpoint that I worked out, 9/2 as well as 9/2. Now if I do add the coordinates of point X, of point S, if I add the X coordinates, so I add 9 plus X, divide them by 2, must be equal with the coordinates of the midpoint, which is 9/2. So if I add 9, add X, and that must be equal with the coordinates of 9/2. So now I have the same common denominator. If I add 9 plus X is equal to 9, if I'm going to minus 9 from both sides, I get the X coordinate must be equal to 0. If I do the same about the Y coordinates in this case, so my Y coordinates are 11, add Y divided by 2 must be equal with the coordinates of the midpoint. So I'm going to write down 11 plus Y divided by 2 must be equal with the coordinates of the midpoint, which is 9/2. I can ignore the denominator because that's equal to 2. So I'm going to equal the numerators, and I'm going to minus 11 from both sides. So the coordinates, Y coordinate must be minus 2. So the coordinates of point S, therefore, must be 0, minus 2. Thank you.